Hi everyone, this is Ashley with Quartix. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar on navigating live tracking. And you can access this on your computer or tablet. So today we want to first take a look at how you're going to use the system on a typical day. Live tracking, which is the very first option here because it's our most popular, right under the application menu. You'll see that there are three different categories here. We've got group, vehicle, address. We've got a little checkbox for show custom locations on map. We're going to put those aside for now because we're going to look at just how you're going to use this, like, probably most of the time. So we'll leave everything in the default and click the OK button to go to the map. Here in the map, you're going to see we've got actually quite a big view here on the map. We've got all of North America, actually. The way the default is set up in live tracking is that it's going to show you however big the map needs to be for you to see all your vehicles at once. So if you're, for example, located in California, it would zoom in closer on those vehicles there. And we're going to just use our mouse here, and I'm just going to scroll in. So we're going to zoom in and take a look at some of our vehicles over here in California. As with just about everything in our system, we want you to be able to get info at a glance. So we know you guys are super busy. We want you, if you have a 2 seconds, to be able to look at a map and get a good amount of info, but we also want you to get the detail when needed. So the way we do that in this feature is by using these little circles that you'll see next to each vehicle. And those let you get at-a-glance info because they are color-coded and then also use different symbols. So if you look to the right of the map over here, you'll see we've got this box, the blue key, which is like a little legend for all the different colors here. So each of the colors is going to mean a different range of speed, so you can get an estimate on their speed. The arrows that you see in the middle of these circles, those are pointing in the direction of travel. And then above that, we've got here two different circles that are white with a symbol in the middle. If it's got a square in the middle, that means that it's stationary with ignition off. In other words, it's parked. If it is a white circle with a pause sign, like pause on your DVD player, then that means that it's stopped with ignition on. In other words, it's idling. Right away, you get that quick info by looking, and then to delve in deeper, get the specifics, we're going to zoom in a little bit here, and we're going to look at this vehicle, and we're just going to hold our mouse over it. So you can hold your mouse over either, there we go, the circle. You can also do it by holding it over the vehicle, and you get this little pop-up. Looks kind of like a little speech bubble in a comic book. And it shows you the key info, the vehicle number, make, model, and then the most recent info on its location. And then the date and time here, that's the last time that the location updated. This is probably an info point plan. Something that to keep in mind here with this feature, it's in both of our service plans. And the only little difference is that in info point, the location info updates every 2 minutes. In Info Plus, it's going to update every 1 minute. So just a slightly different update. And the way you would see it, so when this vehicle moves next, the way it'll look, actually I just saw one up here, is that circle will make just like a teeny little hop to the next place where it is. To jump every 2 minutes if you have Info Point, or 1 minute if you have Info Plus. Now, you can also, with this, get even a little bit more info by clicking on the vehicle. So we're just going to click on this guy here. And in the white section at the bottom, you're going to see the same info that we saw when we held our mouse over. But above that, in the light blue bar, we've got some other options. So this is going to give you some of that more context that we were talking about. You can jump from here to the vehicle's daily log if you want to see more details on its day as a whole. And here, let's just do that now. You just click, and it brings you straight to their log, which is an automatic report showing you all the movements in the vehicle's day. So it's a quick way to jump and get more context. And then to get back to the map, click the back button. And that box is always a great way to get back and forth between features. And now we're just going to hold our mouse over a different vehicle. I'm going to click on it here. And we're going to go to the next feature that you can jump to, Route Map, which is also a very popular feature. So with this one, what it does is it shows you what their routes have been like so far. Now, it's still the morning, so this isn't a very long trip. Let me just see if the next one's a little bit more exciting. So they're just probably getting ready for the day. But the live tracking shows you just where the vehicle is now. The route map will show you a similar visual with similar color coding, but it's going to show you circles for every time we check their location so far throughout the day. And now we're going to take a look at some of the little extras and look a little bit more into these options here. So the first one is group. If you click the drop-down menu, you'll see we have two different ones set up here for the demo. So you can use groups if you have different departments, maybe like you have, if you're in landscaping, you may have like a hardscape or maybe even irrigation, something like that, different departments and different people in charge of them. Or if you have multiple locations, this is a great way you can group the vehicles, and then that way the person who manages that department or location can just from this menu select the ones that are relevant to them. Then below that we have vehicle. You know, I would say 99% of the time people are going to view all vehicles, but you can select an individual one if you need. And then down below you'll see that you have a section for address. Now I actually already typed one in here. Now this is something you can use if you want to know the proximity of your vehicles to a specific location. So we're going to type that address in here, and then below that I'm also going to click on Show Custom Locations on Map, and then I'm going to click OK, and we'll take a look at how this works. Now that we're looking at the map, you're going to see, in addition to all our vehicles and the circles next to each of those, we also have some blue dots all over the map. So these blue dots are representing our custom locations. This is another topic that we end up talking about a lot in webinars because it's one of those ones that customers use all the time if they have regular clients or regular job sites. So you save the name of the client or job site in association with the address, so that when you're reading reports, you'll see the name rather than the address. It's one of those little things that makes it even a little bit faster to read through reports, saves you some time so you can do, other things. What we do here is if you check that box for Show Custom Locations on Map, it's going to show you all those circles, and then the benefit of that is you'll see quickly at a glance which of your vehicles are closest to those different locations. So it gives you that little bit more context. Now we're going to zoom in here on Chicago so we can take a look at that other thing we selected from the main menu where we entered in an address. And now we're going to see that yellow circle here. If you hold your mouse over, you'll see that it says our address. And now if we want to see who's closest, what we're going to do is look below the map. And so now what we'll see here, we've got this list of vehicles, and this is the same info we're seeing on the map, but it's written out versus being in, an icon form. What we see now is registration number, so the vehicle number, description, and we've got a column for distance. So now we've got this super easy way of seeing which vehicles are closest to the address, and it automatically is going to filter them from closest to furthest. It'll show you also if you needed to go through, you could click, and then it would change it so it's filtered from furthest to closest. What I'm going to do next here is show you one quick configuration thing. So to do this, I'm actually going to jump to another web browser here. One of the things you would have noticed is, when we were looking at live tracking with those special options a moment ago, we had the vehicle list below the map, but you can also change something in your settings, and then you can have the map view right to the left of the list of vehicles. So this is a really popular configuration change that people do, and it's very simple. Oh, and before I show you how to do it, just one little thing here. When we looked at it before in the other one, we had the key directly to the right of the map. Now we have this list to the right of the map, but if you want to see the key with what those different color codes mean, you just go into the notes blue box here, click the plus sign, and then it shows it to you there. So what we're going to do now is look at how you can change your settings from the default with the list below. So we're going to go to the menu here, and then we're going to go down to not configurations, which is what you would think. It's actually edit user preferences. So all the way down at the bottom, edit user preferences. And then it's just a simple box to check. So you'll see here it has all kinds of info for setup of your vehicle. And now we've got one that says widescreen layout and live tracking. All you have to do to get that option is to check this box. Then you'd go down and you'd click the update. Great. So now what I'm going to do is toss things over to my colleague Kristen, and she's going to go over some of your questions from today. Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Hi, Ashley. Doing good. We do have one question. First one comes from Sarah in Florida. She says, can I show just the live tracking map on a screen in my office?
So this is something that we have actually a lot of customers have been doing recently. So if you want just the live tracking, you can either, if you want like clients to see it, you can do this. Also, sometimes if you have a big office, it might be nice to just have it up on, one screen so everyone can always see it. So what you'll do for that is send an email to us. It's going to be to systems support. So systems with an S, support at Quartix.com, and just email in and just say, hey, I'd like to be able to have a link to the full screen live tracking. And what they do is they'll send you a link that lets you just see that feature. You won't see any of the sort of extra things that are normally on the side. And that way it's just nice and clean and easy to reference throughout the day.
Okay, great. We do have one more, time for one more. This one comes from Cliff in San Diego. Mm-hmm. What happens if the vehicle is somewhere with bad cell reception?
I love this question. The device itself, it uses, basically it's going to use satellite and it's going to use mobile networks. And the way I like to think of it is it's always talking to the satellite. So no matter what, the satellite and the device are talking back and forth. The satellite sends the info on the vehicle's location back to the tracking device, and there is storage on the tracking device. So that means that it stays there and then is uploaded via the mobile network. Now, if you have I'm sort of crossing out with my mouse. If you're somewhere very rural or where you have bad cell reception, what happens is the satellite and the device are still talking. The device is still storing the info on location. And then when the vehicle, moves on to a place with better cell reception, it just batch uploads that info. So if you're somewhere with bad reception, you may have a temporary, interruption in live tracking, but you don't lose data. It's going to upload all the data. So that's a great way. That's sort of like almost like a backup system, using them both, the two ways of connecting the info. And then that way you can get, look back if you need to. Any questions? Here's some info, any feedback, you can email us here. You can reach us via that chat or give us a buzz. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate you joining us here today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.